Welcome in, folks. This is the Fantasy Alarm tutorial series, and this is the lineup generator. We're going to look at the MLB lineup generator today. And so the way the generator works is first you make some settings, pick which scoring system you want, which site you're going to play on today. We cover 6 different sites. The generator uses 33 different metrics, plus projections, plus our analyst information. So today, Justin Mason or Howard Bender or whoever will be doing the playbook and the example lineups. That information is taken into account when it creates lineups for you. No other generator takes editorial information in and through AI figures out exactly how it should help make your lineups. So 6 different possible selections. I've selected DK. Cash or GPP. Are you playing in tournaments? Much harder to win, much more risk associated with it. The thing that we use most here is ownership information. So we get ownership information, projected ownership information for every player in who's playing tonight, and what their ownership will be for GPPs, for main slate GPPs. So we will use that information as a negative if they're highly owned and a positive if they're lower owned, because you want to win the whole thing when you do it that way. The opposite is true for cash games. We will use more of the most used players in cash games because that's what wins, because those are the players most likely to have the most solid performances. Here we have 3 things over here. Standard is we are going to take the best players based on those 33 metrics and that analysis and the ownership information. I'm going to pile all that stuff together and put up just the best players. Power says we are going to give a little bit of an edge to players who are projected to have higher home runs tonight or have a tendency to have higher home runs based on batter versus pitcher information or at venue information. Is the ballpark better? If the ballpark's better for fly ball hitters, you're going to get more of those in your lineup than you would if you selected standard. And volume, what volume is going to do, it's going to take into account the batting order. And the batting orders that are in, the confirmed batting orders, will be used in order to give you players who are more likely to be in the beginning of the lineup. And then for players who aren't in a lineup yet because it's not confirmed, we have their previous lineup selections, and we have something in the database that tells us which lineup position they should be given and whether they should be involved in getting a volume bonus. Okay, then here we have our game selector. So tonight I want no one from Miami. So I click on Miami, they're gone. I want no one from the Angels. Now the Angels are gone, no Mike Trout in my list, completely gone now. So I can select any teams or I can leave them all either way. Then I select the slate that I'm playing. I'm going to play the Classic 8 tonight. There's 8 games tonight on the nightly slate. And then I can look through players here and I can select only these players by clicking this X if I want. I generally don't do that because I want the generator's power to come out. I can lock in players that I want to use. So for tonight, let's say I want to use Garrett Cole. I can lock in Garrett Cole and he moves over here. Let's say I want to make sure that Lucchese's not going to be in our lineup. Now I've excluded him from the list and he appears in my exclude list. Additionally, there's 3 more features. One is you can select and apply stacks. So I can select and say, okay, I want the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. If I click on this, it will give me 3 players from the Blue Jays in my lineup. And you know, if I clicked more than 2, it won't allow me to click 3. It will actually shut off the first one that I clicked. So it'll only allow you to select 2 at a time, and we will select between 3 and 4 players depending on how the salaries work out and how the metrics come through. Okay, and then these will allow you to filter the part down here so you can find the players you want to exclude or to include by simply sliding this, and players will disappear or appear based on what you select here by points. This is not used in filling out the other positions here. You can't say, I only want players with more than 20 projected points, click the button, and it's only going to select those players. This is just for filtering your view, so you can either select players here that only will be used, lock them in, or remove them, exclude them completely. Okay, and now, here's the next part. This part's very powerful. So if I generate a lineup, I can generate a lineup, and now I have a lineup on DraftKings, and I can save that lineup. And if I save that lineup, then it will appear in my save list. And then based on that save list, I can do a number of things with it. I can export all the ones that are in the list. I can delete all. I can delete this one, or I can export just this one. Okay, that's not the case if I create multiple lineups here. Okay, so now we allow you to create 1, 5, 10, or 15 lineups right now. We're considering expanding it to more than that. But in general, once you get to that point, you are really, at that point, just throwing money away on 90% of them. And then, if you generate enough of them and you're brave enough, then, one of them can hit. But we really don't recommend that. I like locking in 2 or 3 players and then generating 15 lineups that way so that I can get exposure to 3 or 4 guys, and then those guys hit. Then the other guys in my lineup, I just got to hit on a couple of those that bring it in, and so then I will do that commonly for some GPPs. So let's see how it works. We generate 15. It generated 15 lineups. I push the export button. Right down here, you can see it exported a DK lineup. If I go up here and I go to DraftKings, loads me into my lineup. I select lineups. I click the upload button. I want to upload those lineups for today. I click the upload CSV lineup. I go to my downloads folder. I pick the latest one. It loads those lineups for me. And then I can go to my lineups page, and I can see all of those lineups loaded in for tonight. I can juggle them. A couple players here are not in their team's lineups. I'm going to want to make sure I adjust those. And then I'm going to deliver those into a contest by going to the lobby, selecting a contest, and getting into the game. So that's how you can also look at all the lineups here and individually put them together on our interface. Let me get rid of Rowdy Telez and let me regenerate. And then I'm going to regenerate another lineup. So all of this is all possible with our interface, and all an effective way to take a good look at what's going on the night slate and give yourself some lineups with a chance to win. So thank you very much for listening. This has been the Fantasy Alarm Tutorial Series. I'm Rick Wolf. You can reach me at rick@fantasyalarm.com if you have any questions or you just want to talk about how we can make improvements to this for you and the rest of the family.